Hey guys, just Chef Nathan here again. Just about to make some dinner, to get some prep done, and I figured, hey, I'm gonna need to do some chopping, some knife skills at work here. So I figured I'd just do this video just to do a quick knife tutorial on how to take care of your knives, how to maintain them, and just show you the different types of knives that I have. So let's get started. So I have a plethora of knives here that I use. Some I don't use a lot at all, and some I use every day. I'll start with, this is a 10-inch chef knife. This was actually my first knife that I ever got when I started my apprenticeship. It's a Victorinox Swiss German made. Great knife. It's more of a workhorse knife. I'm doing a lot of chopping, big items, bones or whatever. This is a boning knife. So if you want to try to debone a chicken or something like that, this is what you'd use. It's a nice little edge there. This is a Japanese knife. Right here, this is my favorite knife right now. It's a 8.5-inch Santoku knife. Usually, these were used for, or you used to call them sushi knives, but they're have been really popular in the kitchen nowadays. If you notice, the difference between this knife and this knife is usually these knives were just straight edged across, but now they've kind of got a little bit of an arch, just like these ones. And why that's important is when you're cutting, your knife is actually, it's almost like a machine there. It's not this up and down motion. It's there and you push the food under. Not a lot of arm action, just a lot of kind of like forearm action right there. Here is a paring knife with a beak. So these are my two paring knives right there. This is great for like tomatoes, chlorine, just trying to get the pits out of something or whatever. Just two different types of knives, but they essentially do the exact same thing. I don't use this knife often because it's a slicing knife, carving knife. Usually, Thanksgiving turkeys or roasts. So you've got a nice long action, so you're not sawing, just a nice long action. See on the piece of meat that you're carving. This one's kind of a unique knife. You don't see them a lot. It is a chef's knife. Usually chef knives come in 10, 8, and 6 inches. This one is a 4-inch, so it's almost like a cross between a paring knife and a chef's knife. So if I'm cutting the small things like garlic, mincing garlic, I like that. And this one is a filleting knife, so a lot for fish. So see this one, it's got a lot of bend, unlike the other ones. All right, so you can get into and around and not damage the product that you are trying to produce there. So that's another one. Very important. This is a steel. This one's a flat edge. As you can see, some of them are just more round. This one's a diamond steel. Diamonds are one of the hardest surfaces on earth. So when you put, a knife against that, that's where you're gonna get that great sharpening action there. And then another underrated product here is a sharpening stone. So you might have heard of them called a whetstone. It's actually not wet as in W-E-T, it's W-H-E-T, wet, which just means sharpening. So this is a sharpening stone. So your steel is for truing or honing your blade, which just means to straighten the blade. For cutting an onion, just before I start, I want to sharpen, and after, right? So this is what kind of keeps it nice and on tip-top shape. But depending how often you use your knife, so like a knife like this I use every day basically. I want to do this about weekly, maybe even depends on what I'm cutting. But I want to sharpen that very often. Knives like these, because I'm not using them often, I don't have to use my sharpening stone as often to keep them sharp, and I can just live with this. But the main thing, the difference between the steel and the sharpening stone is that this will just keep it as sharp as it is. So if you have a dull knife, It doesn't make it that much sharper. However, this is what actually, this just keeps it as sharp as it is. This actually almost puts a new edge on your knife so that you have a nice edge. It's almost like a V-point. So that's what the purpose of the sharpening stone is. So I'm going to do a quick tutorial of how to use steel and a sharpening stone. So there's two ways to do it. I've seen many ways actually of how to do it. You can also get whetstones that it's just basically one big block that looks like this, not just a flat plate. It's just a big block, but you have to soak those for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, depending on how they're made, the quality. Usually they run from $5 to $30, $40. This one is, like I said, don't have to keep it wet. I don't have to soak it. This was in the $50 price range, so it's up there. But there's two ways to do it. You can buy knife guards to put on there. Basically, we're going to be putting this at a 20-degree angle. So if this is 90-degree perpendicular, if we go halfway, that's 45, and then just down a bit, that's what 20. And so I like to hold the whole blade and just guide it because you want one long, even stroke. That's 4, and then the same on this side. And if you kind of run your finger across very lightly, that is, you should hear almost like it's a really rough. If you're not hearing that kind of sound, that means it's kind of dull. And want to make sure too, to always finish it off by wiping very gently. This is the back of the blade, so I'm not doing the front of the blade, the back of the blade. And that gets all the little filings you can see on there. And then before and after I put my knife away, when I take it out, this is another great way to store your knives. This is just has a locking mechanism on it for safety. Or you can get like a magnet strip to put on your wall, but don't put them in the drawers, don't put them in the dishwasher. You don't want your knives knocking around and causing unnecessary damage to them. But your sharpening steel, so you can see right here, there is almost like a guard. That's where you want to keep your fingers below there. There's two ways to do it. A beginner way, make sure you get a nice cloth down. And just put it right there and just do strokes like that. All right? Or you can hold it like this. You can see it's just basically wrist action. Now move my whole arm, keeping my right arm stiff. And that is a beautiful sharp knife that I'll be ready to prep with. Again, make sure you get all the filings off there. And once in a while, clean this off too. You can see a lot of that good stuff on there. Right there. Whetstone. There we go. When you're trying to pick up a knife, to buy a knife to start, you don't gotta spend a lot. I recommend anything over $50 is pretty good. No matter how, knives always come sharp, really. It's about the care. So you can spend hundreds of dollars on a great knife, but if you don't know how to take care of it, it's not gonna matter in a matter of, after so many uses. This is another knife that I like. This is about a $50, $60 knife that I use at home all the time. And like I said, just keeping it sharp. I'm gonna start prepping now that my knife's nice and sharpened. So thanks for joining me.